And we are live. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex. I know you can't see me, but that's because we're screen recording, just to make this easy and to make this more presentable. So, what I'm going to be talking to you about today is my favorite hobby is Dungeons and Dragons. My community, or my hobby, is a culture of, well, a bunch of really nerdy people who like to play games and get together. This is important to me because, especially in these trying times, it lets me stay connected to my friends. Lets us do the things that we like to do, tell stories, make each other laugh, the whole bit. Just keep spirits up, really. So without further ado, let's get into it. What I want to get into here is to get whoever wants to try this, give them enough information to get set up to try Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to start with a little bit of backstory. So, Dungeons and Dragons is a tabletop role-playing game where people pick characters and play them as they want and they play their characters in a shared imaginative space, like you're all telling a collaborative story. A great way to think about playing D&D is like everyone is playing imagination, albeit a game of imagination with rules and structure. Let's see. The stigma for D&D is that it's a bunch of nerdy-ass people dressing up in costumes, getting in their mom's basement, performing human sacrifices or whatever. But no, D&D was first introduced in 1974 by Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson. They ripped D&D was originally meant to be a supplement for the game Chainmail, which you had armies, and Dave Arneson and Gary Gygax thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you could be your own person instead of being a bunch of nameless armies and crap like that? So they got together, produced a book, and they made the first release of this game, which was $10. It was this little box and had these three little brown booklets. At the time, it was about $10 to $15, which made it the most expensive game on the market at the time. I think there was only around 2,000 copies sold initially when there were 3,000 sold in 1975. Since the game got so popular, they released a bunch of supplements for this game, Greyhawk, including Greyhawk, Dark Door, Tales of Wizardry, and so on and so forth. D&D today has been popularized so much that you may have seen on shows like The Big Bang Theory, Stranger Things, or The Community. Oh, that's creepy. Like The Community. There we go. D&D has certainly changed since it's come on in the 1970s. It's been around multiple iterations, with the current edition of Dungeons and Dragons being the 5th edition. There have been multiple changes, and the thing about 5th edition is that it is considered the most player-friendly of all the editions so far. So how to get started? A good resource to use, which is free to everyone, is D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond is an online resource. It's from the people that sell the books. So I mean, how bad could it be? It's really user-friendly. When you first get on, it's gonna have you make an account, or you can just choose from. Make an account, and then you can go to creations up here in the top. Make your characters. I think if you're on a free account, it either gives, and you're just starting out, it gives you a bunch of pre-generated characters, which is stuff that's pre-generated. Just means that characters that are already built and ready to go, so you can just pick them up. But if you want to create the character, you go up here, and we're going to start the character creation method. Characters can be whatever you want them to be. They can be, depending on the game. I mean, Dungeons & Dragons is set up as like an medieval role-playing game, but I've seen sci-fi versions of this game. I've seen, I've seen like post-apocalyptic versions of this game, like Mad Max style or Fallout. I've seen versions of this game where you're all like cavemen and stuff like that. It's really whatever your imagination can carry you to. So we're going to get started. We're going to show this help text, and we're going to start with a standard character make. Alright, we don't really have to worry about making a character name. We'll worry about that later. We won't worry about the sources. Homebrew content is just stuff that people have made and made up, so it's made of. Again, we're not going to worry about it. Continue on, playtest content, critical role. People who play Magic the Gathering, there's stuff for you. People like Rick and Morty, there's people, they created a whole, like I said, this game can take you to your heart's content. There's Rick and Morty stuff that has made it into the game. Yep. Not going to worry about any of that for our first time. Choose a race. So Dungeons & Dragons, when you make a character, you start off with a race. This can be seen as like a species, but each race has its own benefits. They get like Aarakocra, they're freaking bird people. They can fly, have wings, can fight with talons because they have claws, all that stuff. It differs to stuff like elves, dwarves, goblins, Goliaths, half-elf, human, Kenku, which is I think is like a raven person, but they can't talk. Kobold, like a mini dragon. Actually, funny story, the element kobold is named after, not these, but these are named after the same spirits that these are named after, which is like cave-dwelling spirits in, I think, Japan or something like that. Lizard folk, tieflings, which is like hell people, tritons, which is like mermaids, warforged, which is like robots, and like snake people. Lots of different races. I don't know how much of this is available if you just have the free account. I'm going to move on to class. A class is, we got to choose a race. So we're just going to say we're a good old human. That's easy. Cool. The portrait is doesn't really say who you are. You can be male or female. It doesn't have to be a specific gender, or any gender for that matter, as Dungeons & Dragons is all-inclusive. We're not going to really worry about languages. We're just going to pick one and keep on moving. Giant, cool. I speak giant, cool. Like I said, a class is kind of like what your character can do. Everyone knows about the fighters, a paladin, wizards all need no introduction, but things like barbarian, which is basically just a big bag of meat that says, hit me as hard as you can and I'll keep on coming. Druid is like a forest person. Cleric is, well, they worship a god and they're like priests. Bard is, if you've ever read Shakespeare, that's a pretty good approximation. But Bard is, casts spells and buffs other people with their music. Ranger, if you've ever seen Lord of the Rings, a good ranger is Aragorn. Rogue, basically a criminal, cretin. I sneak around in bushes and all that shit. Warlock, we're just gonna go with fighter because that's easy. When I say easy, it's a lot of the easier classes are things that don't have like spell casting and stuff like that. Because you're just worried about, hey, I want to move myself next to that guy and beat him up. Alright, we're going to, proficiencies. fighters are great because they have a lot of what's called hit points, and hit points are like your health. So the more hit points you have, the more hits you can take, and the harder it's going to be to put you down. Hit points are constituted by 10 plus your Constitution modifier. We'll talk about modifiers later. And then for every level you go up, the more your health increases. Another good thing about fighters is that they can wear any type of armor. They can have shields. Now this differs from like if you're say a wizard. Wizards can't really aren't really known for wearing like full plates of armor and carrying shields and stuff like that. They're more dependent on their spells to keep people at bay. And they also have a lot less hit points because they're not really meant to be frontline fighters like the fighter is. They're good at feats of strength. They're great at feats of constitution. And we get to choose some skills that relate to the fighter class. So we're going to pick acrobatics as feats of strength. Stuff like climbing buildings, climbing obstacles, pushing things out of the way, lifting things, carrying things for long periods of time. Another skill we're going to put into is, actually, what I meant to say is athletics, not acrobatics. Acrobatics is like jumping around. Athletics is more climbing, pushing things out of the way, that kind of stuff. Intimidation. Intimidation is pretty self-explanatory, being able to put fear into the soul of those you oppose, or oppose you. We're going to choose a fighting style. We're going to pick one and roll. This one defense gives us a +1 bonus to our AC. AC means armor class, which means armor class is a number your opponents need to roll in order to hit you. So the higher this armor class is, the harder it is for them to hit you, and the less times you're going to get hit, which means you don't really need your damage. Your health is going to go down less, which is always great. Ability scores. So we're going to standard array because that's just going to give us a list of drop-down menus. Since we're a fighter, our main thing is all about strength and hitting things. We're just going to roll 15. 15? What do these numbers mean? Alright, so when it comes to ability scores, let's talk about what are ability scores first. Ability scores are things that tell you how good or bad your character is in certain areas. So we have 6 different ability scores. Strength, which we just talked about, is like pushing things out of the way, or how strong you are, how physically strong you are. Dexterity, which is how nimble you are with your fingers, how quick you are to get around. Constitution, which is how much damage you take, how beefy you are, how being resistant to things. Like maybe a scorpion sting to you might put you in the hospital, or a scorpion sting to me I might not notice at all. Things like that. Intelligence is kind of like your IQ, how good are you at processing things. Wisdom is things like, is being able to inference things through speech or through situation. This also says how perceptive you are and good at noticing things. Your charisma is based on how influential you are. So this can mean anything from, oh yeah, everyone just listens to me because I'm super bubbly and super talkative. People love to talk to me. Or I exert a presence and people just listen when I open my mouth. Things like that. So since we are a frontline fighter and we want to be really tanky, we're going to put our 15 into strength. 15 is the highest stat. As you can see here, because we are human, we get a bonus to every stat here of +1. 16 is really good stat. When we're talking about ability scores, the way that they are quantified is that 10 is average, like average. Like if you have all 10s and everything, you are captain average. You're not really good at anything, but hey, you're not bad at anything. Anything above 10, any even number above 10, I should say, is above average. So if you have a 12 in the score, that'd be a +1. 14 would be +2. As you can see, 16 is a +3, and 18 is a +4. With most, I think you get capped off at 20 at +5. Anyway, we're going to keep on moving. And while we're talking about ability scores and their scores, any even number above 10 is a positive increase. Any odd number below 10 is a negative score. So anything below 10 means that you're pretty crap at it. Even the average working man could probably do it better than you. So that'd be stuff like, those numbers would be 9 for -1, 7 for -2, 5 for -3, and so on and so forth. I think we're going to end up with 1 negative this way. So our next thing that we want to be the highest is our constitution. We're going to be beefy, we're going to be tanky. Then we want to be pretty reactive to situations, so we're putting dexterity. I want this character to be above average, but he doesn't really notice much, so we put this at 10. And he's not really much of a talker, so we're going to put this down at 8. We're going to hit next. And background. This can be as simple or as noodly as you want it to be. You can really get into nitty-gritty. I've seen people put like 5-10 page backstories and then be killed off level 1. And I've seen people play an entire campaign not writing a single word for the backstory, just having an idea of what they want in that moment. So you're gonna put something simple like, oh yeah, he's part of City Watch, he's an investigator. This comes with his own proficiencies. Get proficiency in insight, investigation. And we're just gonna drop 2 languages and not worry about what they mean. But you can see here that there's a lot of background features that you can pick from: pirate, sage, inheritor, soldier, a lot of basic things. Yeah. And we are going to give this guy a name. It's going to be Ben, because all the other names have been taken. So you have to throw one of these profiles on there that they give you for being a human. I'll go to equipment. It's going to tell you what the starting equipment for an average fighter is. So that'd be, I'm going to pick chainmail. Pick a sword. And this comes with a shield. Martial weapon is anything that you can beat someone with. That's one-handed, I think. I think that's a requirement for that. It gives you like a whole array of things. I don't actually know. It's not one-handed. It can be stuff like great axes is two-handed, double scimitar, stuff like that. Go back down to the sword. We're trying to keep this easy. Light crossbow and 20 bolts. And the difference between these 2 packs is negligible. They don't really tell you what's in these until you click on them. You can click between either of them and just check them out. But we're just going to pick an Explorer's pack because that's the one on the bottom. We're going to add all the stuff. Go to our inventory. and where, use, wield, all this stuff, so we have it on our character. We're not going to worry about any of this, we're just worried about getting started. Chainmail is makes your armor class this number. Makes you, like we said earlier, chainmail makes you harder to hit, but it is pretty heavy. So we'll be taking, if we try to sneak around, we're probably not going to have an easy time doing it. Shield, that also increases our armor class, and because of that defensive perk earlier, we get a +1 of this, so I believe our armor class would be 19 at the end. And short sword, say piercing weapon, we get to be standing right next to someone to hit them with it, which is why it says melee here. We're proficient with it, so we do add bonuses for being proficient with it. 5 feet, yep, that's what melee means. It's a d6 plus 3 to use it, or for the damage, so it's not really putting too much damage out there, but hopefully when we get bigger and stronger and we level up, this number will go up. We're not going to worry about the rest of this. Alright, so I believe that's all we need to do. We're going to view this character sheet. Alright, when we load up, we're going to see our name here. We're a human fighter. We are level 1. That's what that 1 on the side there means. We see our 6 stat ability modifiers that we put in earlier. Proficiency at level 1. This means that anything that we're good at, we get a +2 to it. So that's why athletics, which is a strength-based thing, we're good at strength-based things, so we get a +3. And then because we're proficient in it, we get another +2 to make it 5. And that constitutes things like athletics. Insight, we got nothing in it because we only have 11 out of 12. So our proficiency brings it up to a +2. Intimidation, we would usually be pretty bad at that because it's a charisma-based thing. So we get a +1 because -1 + 2 is +1. It's also a great game for teaching like shorthand math and things like that. I've seen parents use it to teach your kids at home or even like in kindergarten settings to help teach basic math skills. Alright, skills here, as we were talking about earlier, these are, if you're trying to accomplish an action, your dungeon master, who is the other party who's basically like the rules lawyer, the guy who is a referee between all you guys, and the storyteller, he's going to ask you what you want to do in any certain situation. Say you are walking along a path, you see a sword stuck in a stone. You want to try to pull out the sword with all your might. It says, okay, give me an athletics check. Try to pull mightily on the sword. Try to pull it out. You're going to be rolling a d20, which is a 20-sided die. Let me see if I can show you what one of those look like. I'm also going to talk about this website here in a second. Oh, wait for that to load. We are going to talk about saving throws. Saving throws are like something bad happens to you. Maybe you're caught unaware, something falls on top of you. Maybe you want to use your dungeon master to say, hey, roll me some strength saving throw. Which just mean how good are you when something hits you offhand. It's really kind of hard to explain. It's better to explain in practice. But that depends on whoever is your dungeon master. Alright. You can see all our languages here that we just threw on there. You saw throughout the video we only picked 3, and then we have this one on end called Common. Common is the common language that most races share, and it's kind of like English, because in D&D people don't speak English; they speak Common. Um, so this is a way for most races and just be like, hey, you and me are talking, we're going to call that Common, not having to make like a whole special um, language for it. So this one is a D20. It's got 20 sides. Um, the D in front of it just says dice. It's just for dice. And how many sides it has it? That's 20 sides, 12 sides, 10 sides, 8 sides, D6, which you're all probably familiar with, has 6 sides, and a D4, which is like a triangle pyramid kind of thing. It has 4 sides. Um, let's see, anything else we can talk about here? We have our hit points up here. The average starting hit points for a fighter is 10 plus whatever this constitution is, so that's where we get the 12. Armor class is 19, as we talked before. Yep. And then we have actions that we can take. So we have our attacks, things that we can strike with, our short sword, we can hit someone. We have a crossbow on our back that we can shoot someone with. An action. Actions consist of attacks, spells, dashing, disengage, dodge, grapple. And if you want more description on any of these, you can always click on them and it'll tell you what those mean. We're not going to go over all of those. That'd be a little redundant. Alright, we're just going to go into roll 20. Roll 20 is kind of like a Skype kind of deal. What roll 20 allows you to do is to have a game between multiple people and be able to share one screen. So you can see that we have multiple characters here. As a player, you can grab these, drag these around. Hey, I want to move over here and see what's over here. Cool. This is a really nifty online tool. Shows you like everyone's health. Works. Me and my friends here are exploring like a dark area, so it shows you like sight lines. You can see what, and I think depending on where you go, depends on what you can see. It also allows you to roll dice on here. It has a whole tutorial about how to roll dice over here. And yeah, I think that's enough to get you started. If anyone wants to, if you guys have made it this far and you want to try this out, let me know. You can reach out to me over Canvas or what have you. Thanks for watching my video, and I hope all of you guys have a great night.